Hey guys, welcome back to Canadian Gears. I'm here with Warren Buffit. How's it going, buddy?
Not bad yourself.
This guy owns TINT FX. They've been in business here for 25 years. You're celebrating next month, you're saying?
That's right, yeah.
25 years of running this business. But you've been doing this a lot longer, right?
Since '87.
So you're doing window tinting, you do car detailing. Like, what else do you do?
Electronics like stereos, car starters, alarms.
Alarm systems and all that. So you guys are really specializing in this kind of work, and this is all you do. So
yes, yeah.
You don't do any mechanical stuff. This is what
No,
you do.
sometimes I do some comedy on the side, or while I'm at work.
We got a comedian here. That's good. So we have here a GT500 Super Snake.
Correct, yeah.
Pretty pricey car.
It is.
So you're doing some detailing on this.
We are.
Can you explain what you're doing exactly here?
Yeah, this was polished in 2011.
Yep.
So it didn't need a lot of work, and every year since then it's come back for a two-stage wax.
Okay.
So last year we noticed a little bit more swirls showing up, so this year it's just getting a two-stage mild polish.
Mm-hmm.
Then we're applying a nano ceramic glass coating on it.
A nano ceramic glass coating.
Yeah, these coatings generally came out around 2008, 2009.
Okay.
They're anywhere from 50 to 100 times thicker than wax. They're hydrophobic. Water will just rinse off, it'll run off the vehicle. Dirt won't stick as easily.
So it'll stay, so with this, it'd be like having, when you freshly wax your car and you hose it down, but it stays longer.
That's right.
It lasts a lot longer.
Right, the product we're using is, they say it will last up to 3 years, but because this car's never going to be winter driven, and it's driven on nicer days, so it's going to last longer than the 3 years that they stay.
It is. Okay. So can you walk me through what the process is of doing this? So the car comes in, I'm bringing you my car. Let's say mine's never been waxed, or I just use regular wax, whatever waxes at Canadian Tire, whatever, right?
Yep.
What would you be doing to my car to prep it?
Well, we inspect the car first to see what it needs. I mean, every car is different. I mean, sometimes the paint is in very rough shape, sometimes it's in very good, so it really depends.
Yeah.
And also depends on how far the customer wants to go. Sometimes they just want a wax to protect the paint. Other times they want to remove the swirls. Other times they want it pristine. They want everything removed, including the deep scratches and whatnot. So we'll generally look over the car. We give it what we call an obsessive wash. The obsessive wash is a 3-bucket wash, using grit guards in the bucket, 2 grit guards in each, 5 wash mitts, different wash mitt for the top half of the car because it's cleaner, different wash mitt for the bottom half, then the door jambs, the wheel wells. They all get different wash mitts, and we go straight lines only when we're washing a car because basically when you're washing a car, that's when you're really giving it the swirl marks. You're moving dirt around.
People go in circles, right? They have a tendency of doing this all the time.
So you're basically moving dirt when you're washing car. So you want to be as gentle as possible. We have a lot of techniques that we use so that we minimize the amount of dirt that we move. Yeah. And we go straight lines only. So this way out in the sun, you'll still see the straight lines, but they don't show up as much as circular lines.
So you see that a lot less.
Right.
You also mentioned a grit guard. Is this some sort of a screen or something?
Yeah, let me show you. I'm just going to get one.
Sure, absolutely. Guys, this is, I actually know the owner of this car. It's a really cool car. We've been to a few car shows together. Really, really great guy. And, you know, we're privileged to be here checking this car out with Warren. And just, this is a fantastic machine. All right, so these are the grit guards.
These are the grit guards. Most detailers will put one in the bucket. We found that just putting one, the way we agitate our wash mitt, it brought up some dirt past the grate.
Okay.
So we stack 2. And as you can see, there's fins underneath. The water doesn't move. And what we do is we have 2 buckets for the general wash. One's just water. One is with water and soap.
Yeah. So
when we're finished washing a panel, we'll bring back and we'll put the wash mitt in just the rinse water bucket. And we'll scrub it several times on all sides to agitate the dirt and let the dirt drop down. And because of the fins, it doesn't come back up, the water doesn't move.
So, you know, it's a typical thing. We use just a normal bucket and we're using a wash mitt for the entire car.
Right.
You're not really doing a good job.
Yeah, when I drive by and I see somebody washing the car in the driveway, number one, I'm like, they're taking a job away from me. And then number 2...
or they're making a job. They're creating swirl marks.
They're swirling up the car. I see all kinds of things. They use a rag, they use dish soap and things like that. But these grit guards really help prevent moving a lot of dirt around. And then
you'd really advise this for someone, eh?
We do. And then after that bucket, we put it into the soap bucket where we also have 2 of these. And again, we still scrub it. And by the time the wash is done, the rinse bucket is, you can see it's black, it's dirty water, the grit's on the bottom. The soap bucket is nice and clean. You could reuse it for another wash, even though we don't. But I mean, it's that clean.
Really? So that's what you mean by a 3-bucket wash? You got
the 3rd bucket is for rims only.
Just doing the wheels. Of course, you get all the brake dust and all the junk from junk from the road, right?
Yeah, and that one I do differently. I have one on an angle that I wire tie, so it looks like this.
Oh.
And this way I scrub the brush.
On the thing, so you're getting the dirt right off the brush.
Right. So it's a 3-bucket wash. But there's little things that we do even prior to that. We'll high pressure wash the vehicle first to loosen as much dirt off as we can.
Yeah.
If the vehicle's really dirty, we use a foam gun or a foam cannon. We foam the car.
Yeah.
We let the foam sit for about 10 minutes, and this way you can actually see the dirt run off. This way, when you do go to wash the car, there's, again, less dirt on the car.
So you're not scratching it as much.
It's
all about saving the scratch marks, saving the paint.
As less intrusive of a wash as possible. So that's why power wash first, foam gun second. And after the foam gun, we power wash for a second time, so we rinse all the foam off. Then right after that, we use a product called, we use a detail spray.
Okay.
We spray the entire vehicle with the detail spray. This adds lubricity for when we actually put the washment on the car.
Okay, so it lubricates the dirt and everything, any residue that's left over.
Right, because in case there's little dirt that comes out from little cracks, from around the door handles, the mirrors. So what we do, when it's foamed, we do take a boar's hair brush. We go around all the little emblems, any of the cracks, the door handles, to loosen the dirt, to let it run down with the foam.
Okay.
So after we rinse that, so the second rinse, then we'll apply a quick detailer around the complete vehicle. Then we'll use our wash mitts and begin the wash. So now your car has a coating of quick detailer on it.
Okay.
And the car wash. So this way it glides, it picks up any dirt and goes into the wash mitt rather than into the paint.
Up by the wash mitt.
Right.
So this entire process of just washing the car, that must be like over an hour's worth of work just to do that, right?
It is, and that's why when people come in here and they ask us for the traditional $10 wash and dry, I say we don't do a $10 wash and scratch.
Yeah.
It's just impossible to do a quick wash if you want it done right.
Yeah, so one of those 60-second places there is not the best thing.
Yeah, right? I mean, and a lot of times you'll see them use the same wash mitt. We wash the wash mitts after one car wash. We inspect it. We don't use it again for a second car wash. We use another set of wash mitts, things like that.
Wow.
We empty out the bucket, but we're always constantly inspecting the wash mitt because that's key. You don't want any more grit coming back onto the car, and that's where
you want to remove it. You don't want to be dipping back in dirty water. It's like mopping a floor with a mop. You're just mopping dirty. You're just spreading dirty water everywhere.
And the mistake and a lot of other people make is when the soap or the water gets low in the bucket, they take their hose and they add more, and at that time they're just bringing the dirt.
Up the dirt.
That's the number one thing that people do that will bring more swirls onto the car. They're adding more water in the middle of the car wash. Yeah. If you have to, you empty out the bucket. You re-put in the car wash soap. Refill it. Don't just add in the middle of the wash. This way, you won't have all the dirty grit coming back up.
So it's really, really important before anything else that you're prepping this. You're doing the 3-bucket wash, like you're saying. You're using different mitts for the top, side, and bottom, and you're using, another
straight
bucket. Straight lines only. No swirling. Remember that. No swirling. Always straight lines.
Correct.
And you're using a different rag, different brushes, and all that for the wheels alone. Right. Now the wheels are done last, I would imagine.
My wife and I do it as a team, so I'm the one that usually does the wheels while she's washing the vehicle.
So she tackles one part of the body, and you're doing this.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is just the prep. So guys, this is just the preparation part before he starts to detail.
And then there's the drying part. The drying part is unique as well.
Really?
So,
can you explain that a little bit?
Yeah. So once it's all washed, we take the high pressure washer and we wash a third rinse.
You rinse it off.
And then we'll use the same detail spray the complete car again.
Yep.
And then we use very thick microfiber towels to dry it. Now the detail spray will lubricate while you're drying. Again, if anything comes out of any cracks, any little bit of grit, it won't scratch. It'll go into the thick microfiber towels we use.
It gets picked up.
Well, here's one of the towels.
Okay.
So these are very thick, heavy towels. That's what we would use for drying.
Goodness.
So they're not your typical synthetic or leather chamois.
And they are much softer as well.
Way softer.
Way softer.
They pick up any little dirt. And combined with the detail spray that we spray on with this towel, it does a phenomenal job of drying without scratching the car.
Yeah.
And we use a blower as well. So we have different types of blowers. So we blow the little cracks out. So anywhere where there's water that runs out from lug nuts, door trim, your grills, your bumpers, that type of thing, we blow everything out. Because when you're driving away, water will run up through your lug nut holes, your rear bumper, tail lights.
I get that all the time on mine. I get on my Mustang too.
Right.
Same problem. I got these deep lug nut holes, and I'm always going. Usually, I'll put the vacuum on, blow it, and try to. And there's like tons of water, and then I stop at the first corner, and I got water marks everywhere. It's a job.
With it running down, you'll have that grit running with it.
Yes.
So I see a lot of guys, they'll stop, or they'll arrive at a car show, they'll have that water running down, and it's got a line of grit running with it,
Yeah.
and they just wipe it.
And
Right
then
there.
you're scratching the rim again.
Yeah, you'll scratch the body or the rim when you're wiping
now,
anything like that.
And this blower is filtered, I guess?
It is. It's warm filtered air.
Okay.
We use three
Oh,
different
it's
types.
warm air too.
It's warm because the
Warms
motor
it up.
makes it. Yeah, it makes it warm. So we use three different. This is our smallest one, but we have two other bigger ones that we use.
Does your wife use this as a hair blower?
It's way too strong for that.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's
okay,
pretty powerful.
so don't use this as a hair blower for all the ladies out there. Don't think you can buy your husband one of these and use it as a hair blower as well.
You could, but it wouldn't be advisable.
So you do all this stuff, and then you do the drying process like you said, and you're
Right.
adding the extra thing, and then you dry it off, and then you move on to when you're going to start detailing, and I'm seeing there's a lot of masking going on.
Right.
We'll be right back with the second segment. We're going to talk about how he's going to prep for the actual detailing once the car is washed. Stay tuned, guys. TINT FX Motorsports, working with great vehicles with great pride. I've known Warren Buffett now for a number of years, way back when he was on Bronson and I was working for Midas. I've seen a lot of the vehicles he's worked on, and he's always taken extreme pride in everything he's done. I highly recommend you check out TINT FX Motorsports at 1339 Cousineau Street in Orleans for all your window tinting, electronics, and detailing needs. Go check these guys out. It is worth the drive over there, and you'll see you'll get very personalized service, unlike some of the bigger names you see out there. Hey guys, welcome back. I'm here with Warren Buffett again. We're going to talk about the actual detailing part and the prep that's involved. You saw the segment on how washing was important and the method of washing and everything else. So now that the car is washed, you're ready to go. What is the very first step now? You're dealing. I see there's a lot of masking tape going on.
There is a lot of masking.
So there's a lot of This is almost like painting a damn car.
It is, and we use different types of masking tape for different areas of the car. For example, we use a type of tape for any kind of vinyl striping that has an edge lock on it, so it locks down onto the striping. Areas like trim, we don't have to use an edge lock type tape. We use a general masking tape.
So what's edge lock?
Edge lock type tapes are the type of tapes where painters would use to get a fine, crisp line.
Okay.
So you don't want the compound leaking onto racing stripes or anything like that. So anything with vinyl or racing stripes, we have to use a different type of tape.
Okay.
So
and that's why there's different colors, because you get the green and then you've got the blue.
Correct.
So the blue is this.
It's an edge lock type tape.
That's an edge lock type tape.
Right.
And the green would just be regular.
A general purpose masking tape.
For painting or whatever.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you go through a lot of this stuff. Like
a lot.
I mean, I'm looking. You got all the badges, or you got a lot of stuff here that are. So I mean, this is what, another hour's worth of work, just taping it up.
This was almost 3.5 hours just of masking.
Just masking.
Just masking, and that's two of us masking it.
3 hours, 3+ hours, just to mask off this car.
Well, you want the striping to be exact. You don't want it to be over, a little bit under. Otherwise,
it's fine details that you're really doing.
Right, and we work with very high-powered lights to do any of the work.
So you can see everything.
And the key right after the wash is the inspection.
Yeah.
Using the correct type of lights really helping the inspection process. I mean, 10, 15 years ago, we were using halogen lights.
Yeah.
And they're kind of yellowish, and that's why, like, sometimes in the middle of a polishing step, we'd have to pull the car out in the sun to take a really good look at it.
Okay.
These days, we don't have to do that. We have lighting that is actually better than the sun. The sun at mid-noon is around 5,700 kelvins.
Okay.
So we want to replicate that. So I've researched maybe 20, 25 different types of light to get the right one. This one here, for example, I don't want to point it right at the camera, but it's a 5,700 Kelvin light. It'll show up all the little scratches and whatnot.
So it really gives you a lot of detail.
It is, and it's cordless. We have several of these around the shop. Even for down below, we point it right up onto the panel because a lot of the body panels curve.
Yeah.
So you have to have one on the ground. When we're detailing, we have one on the ground, one on a stand that's mid-level.
So they stay on all the time while they're working, so they actually see all the details.
Correct.
So they're actually seeing everything.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, without lighting like this, it's very hard to see. And back in the day with the halogen lighting, we couldn't see everything. When I look back at those days compared to today, it's a huge change. And I've always said, with better lighting, it forces you to do a better job.
Yeah.
Because whatever you see, you can correct. If you can't see it,
you can't correct it.
You can't correct it.
Exactly.
Yes.
So now you've got the car completely masked off and you're ready to go. What's the first process now?
Well, test spots. We do a lot of test spots on the cars because every paint system is different.
Yeah.
Some cars, for example, Audis, some of the German cars have a harder paint.
Okay.
They'll react differently to certain compounds and polishes. Some of the imports will have softer paints, for example. So again, they'll react differently. So we have to do several test spots. I usually pick a larger area like the hood or a trunk lid.
Okay.
And I'll just do 4 or 5 different test spots to get the correct.
Define the correct the correct method that you're going to use.
Right, we want to
chemicals you're going to use.
Correct. We want to use the least aggressive method to do the job. We don't want to use a compound that's so strong that we now have to come back with lighter polishes to correct that step. So we want the least aggressive step to make it work. Yeah. And that involves different pads, different backing plates, different machines. So sometimes it takes a while to find the right combination for it to work with that paint. Once I find the right combination, then that's what we use on the
Everything's a go. You just keep going. You know you're set up for this vehicle.
Right.
Now you're saying, now when you have all these different paints, you get the hard and soft and mediums out. Does that mean it's a different quality of paint, or it's just a process?
It's different different hardeners, different process.
Okay.
With the harder paints, it is harder to polish. It's also harder to get a scratch in. Softer paints are, I find, easier to correct because they're so soft.
It's so soft, right? It's easier to buff stuff
But then there's going to be more scratches.
Yeah,
because
they scratch up a lot easier. Okay.
Right.
So now you've done this and you found out the process. So you want to, let's say we're working on the hood over here, and you want to buff out the hood. Like, what are you doing first?
So something like this. Once we find the right process, I'll use usually a rotary buffer with a little bit of a coarser pad. So here we have generally the different pads that we would use.
Okay.
But the coarsest pad being this yellow one here. So if you feel that would be our first stage.
It's still sponge, but
it's
still pretty coarse. Yeah, you're right.
Right, and then this one is right in the middle.
Okay. Yeah, I can feel that.
The green one's just a little bit, and this is the very softest for the last step, for the wax or for the sealant.
Okay.
So it makes a difference. I mean, I see a lot of guys just use one pad to do the whole job, or two pads, but you can't refine it. You can't get a really great finish without changing your pads.
Well, it's like when you're sanding something. You start with a coarse and you work your way down, right?
Correct.
You go to something finer. You want the better details, right?
Yes.
So of course, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. There's a lot of work even in that alone, like the equipment you have to buy and everything.
Right, and even the backing plates that go on the buffer. We have different types of backing plates.
Okay.
This is a very soft one. We have a medium rigidity and then a very hard.
So that would be for what? Where you're pushing a little harder, you want a little more...
Right, by using a different backing plate with the same pad, you'll get different finishes. Just the backing plate alone will change the outcome of how it's polished.
The stuff I'm learning here is incredible. That's incredible. That's a lot of work, man.
It is. And then this is something else I came up with. I mounted an LED light to the buffer, so now I can see where I'm going as well.
That's really good.
We do use an overhead light when we're working on horizontal surfaces, and on the sides we use tripods with lights. And usually we'll have, like I said, one on the ground, one right in the middle, and one a little bit higher because of all the different curvatures of the body.
Yeah.
So if you just work with one light, you won't catch the proper angle.
So now you're going around and you're buffing the car, I guess, what, with a compound of some sort? You're trying to remove some of the old wax, or
we're trying to remove some of the old. Well, the old wax usually would be stripped with our wash.
Yeah. So you're also stripping as you're washing.
Right. If I know that we're going to be detailing it, I'll use a stronger soap, and that's why we have different soaps pre-mixed. So I'll pre-mix my soaps.
Oh, like I see here.
And it's a little trick of mine by pre-mixing it.
Soap.
A lot of times the soap is like a gel, so if you were to just add it while you're adding it into your bucket,
it doesn't mix
well. It sinks to the bottom.
That's right.
So by pre-mixing it, plus different cars come in, I'll know what soap I'm using. Stronger, more mild, depends on the condition. If I'm going to be polishing it or it's a maintenance wash, we use different types of soap.
Yeah.
So they're always
this is a good idea to do as well. You buy soap at Paint Hire or something, dilute it in the bottle. And
right, 4 ounces to 32 ounces is the average. But every soap is a little bit different.
And you get better dilution out of it, and you know you're going to get
better suds. So the bucket is halfway full of water, maybe 3/4 full. Then we'll add that right in. This way it'll mix evenly. It doesn't sink right to the bottom.
Yeah. That's very cool. So now you've done your buffing, and you've sort of removed the wax.
Oh, I forgot one other step though. Before the actual, we usually clay the.
Do the car clay. I've done that. Yep.
Right. Yep. So we clay.
Play-Doh all the time.
Okay, and the clays now have changed. There's so many different types of clay, very aggressive to very mild, proper clay lube, and also getting right down to the very, very bottom of the car. So we lie down on the ground, we do right down to the very sides.
Well, that picks up a lot because I clayed my car after washing it, and it was black. I could not believe the junk that came off my car.
Right.
Because the paint's still porous, right?
It is.
Yes, that's what it is. And
it embeds itself. Dirt embeds itself in the paint.
I've read stories of guys who brand new cars.
Yep, rail dust.
Off the train, the rail dust and all that, you know, and they immediately just do that.
That's why a lot of people with brand new cars, they think I don't need anything really crazy, I don't need the clay bar, but they'd be surprised.
That's when the car's almost at its dirtiest.
Right, so if you were to wash your car, the way to tell is, we usually say, put your hand through a plastic bag. Once you've washed the car, put your hand, it amplifies it, and rub your paint with your hand inside a you'll feel the difference.
Really?
You'll see that it has lots of bumps and
resistance.
And once you clay, you do the same test with the baggie, you'll see it's very smooth.
Oh yeah, very cool. So you've clayed the car, which removes even more impurities, and now you're ready to do some polishing, I guess.
Right. And the pads, now not just the different types of pad, but also sizing. The industry lately has come up with very small pads, all the way down to 1 inch. So we can get in on some of the, like between the racing stripes, for example. And some
good for the finer, smaller areas.
Right, and some of the fenders and some of the trim around the mirrors and whatnot.
Yeah.
In the past, I used to make my own little pads like this.
Yeah.
But now the industry has come up with the very small pads.
So it's very easy for you to just buy them now.
1 inch to 7 inch, yeah.
And once you use those, you can almost toss them out, or
we wash them. They usually
they're usually washable.
They are washable. They usually last about 3 to 5 cars, depending on how aggressive you are with the pads.
Yeah. Okay. Wow. Now I'm seeing this guy here is very shiny right now.
It is. So we've done the 2-stage polish on this already.
And it's been in. How long has this car been here?
Today is Thursday, so we started Tuesday.
You started this on Tuesday, so you're third day now.
Started the actual polishing, that is.
Wow.
So it's.
So this is going to be in here for a number of days before to get what the results.
It should be done for tonight. He's picking up tomorrow morning for the Autorama show.
Wow. So this is an extreme amount of work involved in this. People don't seem to understand. They think it's like going in the morning and gone in the afternoon.
No, for a simple
big job like this.
Yeah, simple 2-stage wax, yes, but
that could be done in a day. But something like this, where you're adding that polymer.
Correct.
You know, I have no clue what I'm talking about here.
The nano ceramic glass coating.
Nano ceramic glass coating. Yes. Oh my goodness! Hey kids at home, nano ceramic glass coating. I'm a computer guy. I know nano, but the rest.
Okay.
Wow. Okay, this is incredible. So now, applying this ceramic coating, how does that work exactly? Yeah,
there's a prep polish that has to be applied first. I mean, traditionally, when we're applying wax or sealant after a polished compound, we'll walk around the car with 12.5% alcohol in a spray bottle. We spray down the car twice. We walk around the car twice and wipe it down. A lot of guys don't do that, and what happens is the wax or the sealant doesn't bond to the paint properly because you have polishing oils left over from the polish or the compounds that are still on the car. So when you apply wax on top of that, it doesn't bond to the paint 100%.
So I see. Okay.
Normally we would walk around the car twice, wipe it down with 12.5% alcohol, spray it down, wipe it with a microfiber cloth, then we could wax or put the sealant on.
Yeah.
Now the nano ceramic glass coating, you could do that as well. We do that step, and then we also use the prep polish that is supposed to be used for that nano coating, and that removes all the oils, waxes that are in the polishes. Then it's ready to put on the nano ceramic glass coating after that.
So you really have, and this glass coating, you're saying it lasts 3 years.
Yeah,
on average 3 years. Now that's a car that's not winter driven.
No, that is a car that's driven all year round.
So on a car like this that's not winter driven, there's only driven on nice days.
Yeah, it'll last a lot longer than 3 years.
What, 5 years maybe?
Even longer. Because
really?
I mean, you're not even driving it for 6 months.
Yeah.
When you're doing that.
Now, what are the benefits of this nano ceramic coating? What's the benefits for this?
It's hydrophobic, meaning water will wash off very easily. The only downside is when we do a car like this, in the wash solution, we have to add sometimes 3-4 times more soap because the soap will a little beat up and roll off the car. It won't even stick.
Won't clean anything much.
Right. So it's.
But at the same time, isn't that also meaning that your dirt also doesn't stick as much? Doesn't
Correct.
It penetrate?
Yes, and also it gives a little bit of a scratch resistance because you're adding a layer on top of your clear coat that's thicker than wax. It's measured between 1 to 2 microns, 50 to 100 times thicker than wax.
Oh wow! And this is what this car is going through right now. That's absolutely incredible.
But just before that is done, we do still walk around the car with the LED lighting to check that the polishing is done right, that there's no hazing, no swirl buffer marks and things like that. So sometimes we'll catch a little bit here and there that we have to refine and do just before the last step.
And it also protects from UV rays and stuff like that. So you're not only just making the car look good, you're protecting the paint. You know, you're protecting the whole car in a whole. So really, this is something you'd recommend for anybody who's got, you know, a really nice car, like an orange Mustang maybe, or, you know, those other cars out there, you know. These Mustangs are, you know, higher end cars that they really want to make them, want to protect.
It really ranges. I mean, you'd be surprised, some people bring in just their daily drivers to do something
and they want
like
it done.
this. We have several customers that just come in twice a year, in the fall and in the spring.
Okay.
And people think we always do just high-end cars or specialty cars, but
Yeah.
we'll do the everyday drivers as well.
But this would also, if you do this to a car and you know you're keeping it clean, that would also help you hold the value of your vehicle, right? Because you don't have the paint fading, or you know, you don't have the scratch marks and everything.
Key for most of the people that bring in for daily drivers. A good example, I think I have it on my Facebook page. A lady has her Honda Civic that she got a recall notice from Honda. On certain colors, the horizontal surfaces, the hood, trunk, and roof were fading, and they're offering to repaint. But because she's brought her car in twice a year for the last 5 years, it didn't need it at all.
It didn't need it at all.
Wow. Nothing faded on the paint at all, so it didn't need that recall.
That's incredible. So a job like this, let's say, give me a ballpark figure. We're going out, you're doing all out on this car. You're doing a lot of detailing. Now every car varies, but
it does.
Average price, roughly.
I don't want to scare anybody,
no.
But the average is between $800 to $2,000.
Yeah, but you're getting. You think about it. You think about the money these people are not going to spend on normal wax afterwards, and the time that they're not spending waxing the car every time, right? So once this car rolls out of here, he can basically just wash it and it's good to go.
It is a lot easier to maintain.
It's a lot easier to maintain, so that's pretty cool. Guys, we're going to say thanks to Warren over here. This was phenomenal, Warren. We're going to have to come back someday and do some more stuff with you, because we really like the stuff you're doing in here.
You got to bring back the Orange Crush, and we'll do some
we'll do some work on the Orange Crush.
On the panels, yeah.
We'll bring the Orange Crush in here, and we'll do some work, and we'll actually, it would be a great footage. I think this would be great to show the people, but you know what? This is something that really is worth doing, especially if you own a car. You're going to be keeping it for a long time. It might sound like a lot of money, but it's an investment you're getting back anyways. You're keeping the value of the car. The car is going to be worth more. It's going to look more beautiful. You're not going to spend all the time waxing it. As much as some of us guys like to do that, I'm kind of tired of it myself. But it's a lot of maintenance, and you got a show car like this. So I'm sure that the guys at TINT FX know their stuff from what I can see here, and I would highly recommend it. I'll be bringing my vehicles in here. I think we'll bring the V-Rod in at some point and get some work done on that. I'd like to get some detailing done. So we'll be right back on Canadian Gears with some more stuff. Stay tuned.